Hello and welcome to a new episode of Mole Thoughts, this time with No Rest for the Wicked, the early access version. And I have to say, I really love this game. I think it is fantastic, it will be an absolutely banger, and I can absolutely not recommend this game. Wait, what? Yeah, at least right now I cannot recommend it in the early access version it's in, even though, yes, they have already pushed out two hotfixes which actually fixed a lot of the issues people had with the game. And I'm not just talking about technical issues, I'm talking about gameplay issues, and some of the gameplay mechanics was not really what the people wanted. So they already fixed that after just 4 days. So I'm really looking forward to the next few months, and then, of course, to the 1.0 release in like a year or so. And I'm pretty sure at that point the game would be a certified banger. The problem is that they want money from you right now, right? They want you to pay up, and I can say, sorry, I cannot recommend it. So let's get right into it. First things first, let's talk about the technical issues. This game will murder your GPU. I have a 3080 with 12 gigabyte of VRAM, and even on 4040p and just quality, not high quality, but just quality settings, I'm running between 60 and 90% usage of my GPU. Like, it's bouncing quite a bit, and it was even worse before the latest hotfix. In the latest hotfix, they fixed actually quite a bit of the performance issues, especially on the lower settings, and now it runs definitely better on those settings. So this is good for weaker GPUs than mine even. And yeah, it's still crazy though that a 3080 is running at its limits, even though I have to admit the game is just gorgeous. It's You will probably not see it that much in this footage, but it looks absolutely gorgeous in 4040p. Like, the lighting effects, the graphics, the animations, like everything is just top notch, and I absolutely love it. But the GPU is getting hammered. My CPU, though, on the other hand, which is 5800X3D, it's not doing much. Like, it's mostly sitting there at barely 20% usage, and it's not doing much at all. RAM-wise, it's only using, 6 gigabyte of RAM, even after hours of play, so not really a problem. But it's fixable, so, and they're working already on it. Another thing I have to say from a technical perspective, if you were planning to play this game right now with mouse and keyboard, don't. Just absolutely don't. It's horrific. You cannot even change the key bindings, and that is the biggest problem. Like, let me give you a simple example here. Your right-click mouse button right now is triggering your special attack. But if you want to block, which you're doing every few seconds, depending on the build you're running, of course. I use mostly dodge for my build. But if you're using blocking/parrying, you have to use the middle mouse wheel. You have to push in your mouse wheel to block. And I'm like, why didn't you put that on the right mouse button instead? Like, your special ability, you are not using that often in comparison, and it wouldn't feel that awkward. But yeah, they put it on the middle mouse wheel, and it feels absolutely awkward, and you cannot change it. And no, you cannot even change the layout of your controller either. They're working on it right now, but yeah, if you want to play this with mouse and keyboard, please don't. Just don't. Wait for the patch till you can at least change the key bindings, and then things will be much better. But right now, it doesn't feel great. So that's the technical aspects. Let's talk about the gameplay. Man, I love this game. But the first thing I have to say is, it's not an action RPG. Well, it is as much an action RPG as Elden Ring is an action RPG, right? It's an RPG and a lot of action in it. So basically, you could call it an action RPG, but in reality, this game is a Souls-like. It is absolutely a Souls-like. You're not killing hundreds and hundreds of enemies easily. You are mostly doing one-on-one fights, two-on-one fights, or if you're really screwed, as you can see in my footage here, three-on-one fights. And yeah, it's a Souls-like. Like, after a few hits, you would die very quickly, and it's just not an action RPG. I'm sorry. Like, no matter what they are saying, it is not an action RPG. Well, again, basically it is one, but it is a Souls-like. It's a Souls-born game. And personally, I don't have a problem with that. I love Souls-like. I have finished all the From Software games. I have finished most of the Soulsborne other games out there. And so I don't really mind to have another one on my PC. But yeah, it might be a little bit misleading and people might think of something else when it comes to the gameplay aspect than what they actually get. But I love the game. The combat feels good, even though there are moments where the enemy shouldn't hit you, like you are out of range, and the attack animation is not quite right. Like it feels like as if the actual attack which can hit you is always like a few pixels bigger than the graphics are, and that of course sucks. So, but the combat feels great. I love the deep RPG mechanics where you really just start with nothing and then you build together your own class. And yes, there is magic in the game. There is ranged weapons in the game. I haven't really utilized them much, but they're pretty strong. They're pretty fun. And you then just build together your own class. I'm already thinking about playing a mage, a healer, or even a paladin as class when the multiplayer component is coming in. Because right now, multiplayer isn't in. And I'm really looking forward to that. Like, the crafting feels great, finding new weapons, upgrading the weapons, adding your perks. I also love what they are doing with the rarity system, that you have white, blue, purple, and yellow / legendary items. And instead of going the usual round of just making it more rare, they're actually making it so that white weapons are not bad. They're the most customizable and maybe best weapon in the game if you have the resources to make this something really special, which, by the way, I'm doing with my 2 daggers you can see here in the background. They're white weapons and they're murdering shit. I love them because I basically build them and put them together. Blue items are just more stats. Purple items have the highest stats in the game, but they also have a curse on them. So let's say they can give you a very strong buff like passive health regeneration, but they will also reduce their complete health by 20%. So you now have to think, shit, do I want less health but have permanent health regeneration, or is that too much? Right? Like, purple weapons are more like a make a decision here if you want to get the offset, and then of course the legendaries are like the fixed weapons in the game. And I really like what they are doing. Speaking of crafting, what I don't like is they have this survival aspect to the game. You have already seen it in the footage that I'm sometimes starting to cut down trees or mine some ore, and it feels attached to the game. It doesn't feel like it belongs here. It's more like an afterthought, and it slows down a lot of the gameplay itself. I'm not a huge fan. I totally love the idea that you're slowly building up the village and that you are slowly upgrading like all the merchants in the game, which also you can see visually in the game, right? So I totally like that aspect. But this mining and cutting wood, and especially after you are just standing there for 20 seconds and then you are getting one ore or one log out of it, just feels a little bit abysmal. And not too much of a fan of that. But another thing we also have to talk about and is inventory management, inventory space. Till you don't have your own house, the amount of inventory space you have is rather limited. And yes, I know, you are getting a community chest. This is very important. You're not getting your own chest. You are getting a community chest. So when the multiplayer is coming in and you have friends, they can actually also put stuff into that chest or can take stuff out of it. And then till you get your actual house, which can take hours and hours of gameplay, you then get a chest where you can just put stuff down. But till then, inventory space is a little bit limited, and not a big fan of that. Another huge thing I am still not a fan of is how they manage death in this game. So when you die, you are not losing your souls or XP or anything like that. You are losing durability on your items. And thankfully, they have already lowered the amount you have to pay to fix your durability and how much you find of the repair powder you can just use in the field. But you still will have moments where you sometimes run out of durability when you are really having an issue with a boss fight. You have to run back to the town / teleport and then teleport back to the boss. And it just interrupts the whole flow. The same goes a bit with the food. It gets better later on, but especially at the beginning, food is a finite resource, and it's the only way how you can heal, because there is no permanent healing item. There is no Estus flask or something like that in the game. You always have to cook the meal, as you can also sometimes see in the footage here. And the resources, especially in the tutorial area, are finite when it comes to meal or to the meal creation. So best recommendation I give is finish the tutorial as quickly as possible. And then you are slowly starting to farm the resources for your healing items, which I also find like it just goes back to being tedious, and you have to like do some repetitive farming here and there if you really want to have a lot of resources. And it's the survival element, as I said, I feel a little bit tagged onto it. Speaking of survival aspect and, well, live service aspect, this game has live service aspects. You will have dailies, you will have weeklies, and you will have also challenges, which you then can turn in for in-game rewards. But it's not a live service game. You don't need an internet connection. You can play this completely offline. And there's also no battle pass or anything like that. It's just they have dailies and weeklies and challenges and something like that. It's a bit weird that they have it in. Like some of those aspects feel like they wanted to put it in because they really wanted to be this game differently from, let's say, Elden Ring, and it just sometimes doesn't click. And I'm hoping that in the next coming month they can fix that feeling. Right, they can iron it out, and this is why I say, like, everything which is in the game feels good. Now they have to make it stick. Now they have to make it work together, and that would take months. And I am pretty sure that when I do another Mole Thoughts, when this game is coming out, it will be maybe some Game of the Year contender even, right? It is that good, and I even already have some issues of putting this game down, even though with all the issues it has, right? So yeah, I'm looking forward to the next few months, but if you have other games to play and you don't wanna take up with the mess it can be sometimes, just wait. Just wait. With that said, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and my thoughts, please leave a like and also subscribe to the channel if you want to see more RP games and survival games. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to check out my other channels. Till then, bye bye.